Hi, I am Ali Nisas, registered nurse and managing director of Nice Us Geriatric Home Care Training and Agency Limited, and this is Return the Favor, a web series giving you tips on how to properly care for your elderly parents. They took good care of you as a child, so now it's time to return the favor. Hi, welcome to another episode of Return the Favor. This week we will speak on main factors that may cause falls in the elderly. So, elderly persons are more susceptible to falls, and these falls for you and me may not be that much of a deal, but with elderly persons it can be very detrimental. They may have easily broken bones due to fragility. They may have bruising, whereas the cuts that they sustain may heal slower, and their limbs can be easily dislocated. And in the elderly, they have a lower pain threshold. It is important to avoid falls in the elderly because of these factors, as well as you may have other complications that you may not have thought about. What about the medical bills? You want to avoid costly medical bills that may come with a fall. Also, you want to avoid long hospital stays. The elderly being in the hospital for a longer period, it may cause a risk to nosocomial infections. That is, infections that you can acquire at the hospital. So we want to avoid that, as well as think about the anxiety or fear that an elderly person may develop after a fall. If I experience something that is so traumatic that I had a broken bone and I had all these complications, I wouldn't want to do it again. So sometimes when an elderly person fall and they have issues after that fall, they don't want to walk, they don't want to move, they don't want to engage in certain activities, and then they avoid walking, which can cause contractures, which can cause mobility and circulation issues. Right? So let's look at the factors that may cause these falls so we can counteract these factors, we can stop it before it happens. So the first factor we're looking at is eyesight or vision. And the elderly may have poor vision and not say anything. So check their eyes regularly and ensure compliance with their medication if they are on eye drops. Muscle weakness, right? You may have diminished movement that causes the muscle to waste away. They say if you don't use it, you lose it. In the elderly, sometimes we may neglect. I have to help my elderly parents exercise to keep muscle tone so that the muscles themselves won't get weak. If you have weak muscles and they try to walk, they may fall. So we want to incorporate some exercise routines within their schedule, and we spoke about that some episodes down. Housekeeping. Keep frequently traversed areas clear. What you can maneuver around, they may have greater difficulty doing so. So be more mindful about where they walk frequently and keep it clear. Pain in joints. If my joint is hurting me, imagine you get up and you have a sudden pain in your joint. You may off balance. So what we want to do is make sure if they have arthritis and they're on medication, make sure they take their medication. You may have, I welcome you to get some physio for them. If it's according to the doctor's orders, you can engage in some physiotherapy, maybe some range of motion exercises. You can look up some stuff and help them keep those joints supple, as well as keep the joints warm. Air problems. So the vestibular system within the inner ear is responsible for balance and equilibrium. It may be an issue that causing them to lose balance. So get their ears checked up regularly. Shortened spines or osteoporosis. So If their spine is shorter, then their center of gravity is displaced. It's no longer where it would have been had their spine be the normal height and length, right? So because of that, you may have off balance, you know, whilst they're walking. So if you know your elderly parent has osteoporosis, or they do have that curvature of the spine due to the shortening of the spine, get them walking aids or speak to the doctor where that is concerned. Disease conditions. There are some diseases that causes imbalance or balance issues with mobility. Example, Parkinson's. So Parkinson's disease, you have a bit of a shuffle when they are walking. Be very specific on the flooring that you have in the home where they are. You don't want shaggy carpets, because if they are unable to walk with their feet a little higher than usual, and they have a shuffle, then you need a surface of flooring that can accommodate someone who cannot walk, you know, like they usually, you know, foot up, next foot, they have a little shuffle. So be more aware of that. You want to have floors that don't cannot have water pooling around, so be very careful where that is concerned. Slip and trip hazards. Secure cords, secure any obstacles on the ground. Make sure that there's no water on the ground so that they won't slip, trip, and fall. Fatigue. Oh, well, you and I, you know, when we are tired, you know, we rest and so on. It would not cause issues with walking, but you have an elderly person, an elderly parent. They may be on long errands. You go down by the bank, you go here, you go there, you know, trying to sort out everything. And you drop them home and they're fatigued, they're extremely tired. And they try to walk and the muscles get out, their legs just lose out on them, and that's it. So be very careful of fatigue with the elderly. Lack of rails. So sometimes the elderly, when they sit in a seated position or a lying position, if they get up too fast, you'll have something called orthostatic hypotension, where the blood just rushes away from their brain, right? If you have rails in place, in places where they may have to go down and then come back up, for instance, in the bathroom, in the toilet area. So when they go down on the toilet area, as they're coming back up, they wouldn't have that orthostatic hypotension affecting them that may cause them to fall. And elevated beds. So when we're looking at the elderly, think in their terms. Think through their lens. A bed that you can just climb into and jump into, it's much harder for them because of the lack of strength and the joint issues. So make sure the bed is as low as possible so that they can get into it and not slip or tumble over, as well as when they're coming off, they can come off with ease. And if they are on the bed, you want to make sure that the bed is at a height where, God forbid, they do fall, the distance from bed top to the floor is not that bad. And that's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe to get more content like this. And if you want more details on the topic for today, check out the blog on our website. Link in the description. Until next time.